Hello everyone, welcome to Online Academy. In this video team, I'm going to show you how to prove using contradiction method. So a proof by contradiction is based on the fact that either a statement is true or it is false, but not both, which means the statement must be either true or false. So proof by contradiction may be summarized in 3 steps. That is, the first step, we suppose that the statement to be proved is false. Then you have to show that this supposition leads logically to a contradiction, and then we have to conclude that the statement to be proved is true. So for example, give a proof by contradiction for the statement: if n squared is an even integer, then n is an even integer. We have to show that if n squared is an even integer, then n is an even integer. That's what we want to prove. So by proof by contradiction, first we have to give a supposition that the given statement is false. So we have to give a supposition. So suppose n squared is an even integer and n is not even, so that n is odd. So we are just saying if n squared is even integer, then n here must be an odd integer. That's what we have to prove here. So hence n is equal to 2k plus 1 for some integer k. Why 2k plus 1? We know that for odd integers it will be in this form, 2k plus 1 for all odd integers. So now n squared will be equal to n squared. We have to square this value here, which will give us 2k plus 1 to the power 2. Then if we expand this bracket here, what we get is 4k squared plus 4k plus 1. And then if we factorize here a 2 here, we'll get something like this with a plus 1 here. And then we end up having something in the form of 2r plus 1, which is an odd number, where 2k squared plus 2k is our r. This one will be our r. Then we end up having something in this form. So this shows that n squared is odd, which is a contradiction to our supposition that n squared is even. Hence the given statement is true. This is how we prove. Here we were supposed to prove that if n squared is an even integer, then n is an even integer. But by contradiction, we've proved that if n squared is an even integer, then n is what? Is odd. But here at the end, we have seen that n squared will be not even. If this one is odd, n squared will be also odd. So it leads to a contradiction. Instead of proving that if this one is odd, then this one is even, it ends up proving that if this one is odd, then this one is what? Is also odd. Hence it leads to a what? To a contradiction of our supposition of the statement. So hence the given statement is what? Is true. Let's take another example. Now we want to prove by contradiction the statement that if n and m are odd integers, then n plus m is an even integer. We are just saying if we have two integers n and m, and if they are odd, if we add them, then we will get an even integer. So our solution, first we have to give a supposition. So suppose n and m are odd integers and n plus m is not even, which means it's odd. As a supposition, n and m are odd and n plus m is not even, which means it's odd. So let's prove that. So if we come here, now let's take our n as odd, which is be equal to p plus 1 for some integer p, and also let's take our m as odd, which will be equal to 2q plus 1. Here we are giving two different letters just supposed to differentiate these integers, so that it will become n and m, not just an equal integer. So hence n plus m here, n plus m, if we add n and m, we will be taking these two values and add them. We will get something like this, which is 2p plus 2q plus 2. If we factorize, we will get an even number, since 2 times r, or 2 times, if we take this one, this thing is r, if we take it as r, if you take this one as r, you will be having something in form of 2r, which will be always an even number, which you are contradicting to the assumption that n plus m is odd. Hence, the given statement is what? Is true. That's how do you do it. So I want to say thank you, team, for watching this video. This is how you do the proof by contradiction.